If you've been injured in a car accident in Arizona, you're probably asking the same question almost everyone asks first: how much is my case actually worth? Here's the honest answer. In Arizona, 3 things determine the value of a car accident claim: economic damages, non-economic damages, and the insurance coverage that's actually available. Understanding all 3 is how people avoid getting lowballed. Start with economic damages. These are the hard costs, the ones with a receipt attached. The emergency room bill, imaging, surgery, physical therapy, the wages lost while you couldn't work. And here's the part people miss: future costs count too. If ongoing treatment is needed, or if someone can't return to the same job, that future loss is part of the claim. Many people settle before they know what their future care will cost, and that money is gone for good. Next, non-economic damages. This covers pain, suffering, and the parts of life that don't come back. Lost sleep, a hobby that's no longer possible, not being able to pick up your own child. There's no invoice for any of that, which is exactly why insurance companies work to minimize it. It's the hardest number to argue for, and in a serious claim, it's often the largest. Now, plenty of websites will tell you to multiply your medical bills by 2 or 3 to estimate a settlement. Be careful with that. It's a rough rule of thumb, not a formula, and no honest attorney will promise a number. What actually drives value is the severity of the injuries, how clear the other driver's fault is, how well the treatment is documented, and how strong the evidence is. There's one more factor, and it has nothing to do with your injuries. Adjusters settle claims for a living. It's their full-time job. They handle hundreds of them a year. They know what a claim like yours typically settles for, and they know exactly how the negotiation is going to go before they pick up the phone. Most injured people do this one time in their entire life, and usually while they're in pain, out of work, and watching bills stack up. That's not a fair fight. That's a professional negotiating against someone who's never done it before. The first offer isn't a final number, it's an opening position. Adjusters expect a response. If you don't know that, it's easy to hear an opening offer as the end of the conversation instead of the beginning. However, studies have generally found that injured people who are represented by a lawyer recover more than those who aren't, though every case is different and no outcome is ever guaranteed. Third, and this is the one almost nobody talks about, available insurance coverage. A case can be worth a great deal on paper and still be limited by the policy that exists. Arizona's minimum required liability coverage is relatively low. If the at-fault driver carries only the minimum and the injuries are serious, that policy can be exhausted fast. That's why underinsured motorist coverage matters so much, and why one of the first steps in any claim is finding every policy that might apply. 2 more things that are specific to Arizona. Arizona follows pure comparative fault. That means even someone who was partly responsible for a crash can still recover. The compensation is simply reduced by their share of fault. So if an adjuster says there's no case because you were partly at fault, that is not how Arizona law works. And Arizona has a deadline. Generally, there are 2 years from the date of the accident to file a personal injury claim. If a government entity is involved, the deadline is much shorter. Miss it, and it doesn't matter what the case was worth. It can't be brought at all. So what is a case worth? It's worth what the evidence supports, what the future actually looks like, and what coverage is available, not what the first adjuster offers. Here's the thing to take away from all of this. Right now, the insurance company already has professionals working on your claim. Trained adjusters, assigned the day it was reported. You don't have to be the only person in this without someone on your side. At Law Angels, the first conversation costs nothing, and that 2-year clock started the day of your accident. It's running right now, whether or not anyone is working on your file. So don't guess what your case is worth. Find out. Call 844-THE-ANGELS or go to lawangels.com. Call the Law Angels today, and remember, you heal while we recover.